Very good evening to all of you. I'm pretty sure this is not the right time, Sunday at 3 o'clock. Maybe I have started a minute early, but it's been kind of very long for me to try doing something like this for a reason that I believe sharing ideas, sharing perceptions enables us. One is to first make us a better communicator. And second thing is a meaningful conversation will also help us to redraw to the convictions which arrived out of our perceptions. So, a disclaimer before me getting into anything, uh, whatever I'm trying to say or whatever I'm trying to communicate here uh, is purely based on my interactions with multiple people and my interaction, my deci- deci- deciphering certain situations on how things can be made better, and also on my experiences, either when things has really worked out for me or when things where I miserably failed based on certain assumptions. I thought, let me create a kind of a platform to share all those things. Maybe something is useful for someone, or maybe I get a chance to correct myself based on my assumptions, which if someone can tell me, it cannot be this way or that way. And so listen to me and help me make this particular session much better. I would like to try have a very meaningful conversation on this. And to start with, I try to divide this into three parts. First part is being sharing my perception on certain things, anything under the sun. I don't want to restrict myself because every week there are some new happenings which creates an impact for us, a very meaningful impact for us, which enables us to think in certain way which we were not used to think. So I would like to start from there. And going forward, the first 30 minutes, I would like to share those. In the meantime, as there is a scroll which is coming down, you can always ask your questions, share your suggestions in YouTube or Facebook by commenting there, which I can pick certain of your comments on the second 30 minutes of it, and I would like to answer, or I would like to share my perception on those comments. So today, very specifically, before me starting the session, I would like to speak about some people with whom I had an impact, especially this week. The first person is the first person in my life to get inspired with. I, for people who don't know my roots, I belong to a place by name Arayapuram, which is a Tier 5 village, which where we have access to a town which is almost around 15 kilometers away, and it's a very small village where we live on a street where everyone is a kind of a first relation or second relation to us. When I was on my fifth or sixth standard, uh, I really got inspired by this person. His name is Dr. Swaminathan, because we are from a village where almost all of us were agriculturists. We neither have an idea or an exposure towards a formal education, nor we had seen someone who has been respected for his qualification, because we have been kind of used to see people who has been respected for the land banks what they own, for the number of people whom they employ, or predominantly on wealth. Dr. Swaminathan was the first person whom I started looking upon for a reason that for his qualification. And that is the moment I realized, apart from the land bank, apart from what you have, you can be valued, you can be respected for your profession, your qualification, He was one of the most sought after, beautiful doctor in our hometown as well as the nearest town. And he's a pediatrician. And parents, especially with newborns, love to go to him for a reason. That sorry, I would have switched off my phone. Yeah, love to go to him for a reason. He's not any other doctor. He just don't write the medicines. He engages himself so beautifully with kids. Apart from that, he spent a very decent time in educating the mother on how exactly that medicine needs to get administered. And uh, he had a great name. He had a great name. And anyone, regardless of whether we are related to him, we are not related to him, it's a kind of pride when we go to the town. People used to connect us the moment we say the typical question what people ask is from which village you are from. When we say we are from this village, the first question what people used to ask is, are you from Dr. Swaminathan's place? And the second thing which I remember about him is an ever smiling face. I don't even think I had a moment which I could recollect this person without having a smile on his face. See, we all tend to get attracted to certain set of people without even we spending time, without even we speaking with them. He's one such person. And also, he's the one, not only me, many people has learned from him that howsoever you have been valued, you can still be on ground, you can still throw your warmth to people. He was no more. Last week, he succumbed to corona. And that's the moment I realized when I heard the news that when people are around us, we really don't know or really don't realize what kind of impact they have created on us. And I used to call Mrs. Swaminathan as auntie, but he was not only to me, for the entire village, for the people who's known to him, he was always doctor. And his soul will definitely rest in peace. There are a lot of people whom he has very positively impacted. The reason why I thought of sharing about this was, I think in the process of we living this mechanical life, we tend to forget people who has created a very positive impact on us and who we miss taking time and going and telling that you have created an impact on me. Thank you for that. I'm gonna start practicing that. If that is gonna be of any help to any one of you, I thought I'll share that to you. And the second person whom I want to speak about today, especially for the people who can see this, I belong to the southern state of Tamil Nadu, is Dr. Kalaignar Karunanidhi. And incidentally, last week was his second death anniversary. See, for all of us, right, we all have inspirations happens across or people whom we haven't met or on those times we haven't lived. This one person, if I start thinking about them, whatever pressure I go through, whatever failures I have seen, suddenly looks like nothing to me. A person from a community which has not been valued at the time he started his career, doesn't have any formal education, doesn't have any financial background, doesn't have any great looks compared to his contemporary, my idol MGR. How come someone can hold the forte, and how come someone can inspire people till his last breath. So something which I'm still trying to see and trying to understand that with an app. He was a great orator. The cinemas where he has written dialogues has not only been successful, it has changed the way the people of the state used to perceive things. And he was the front runner, undoubtedly, in Tamil Nadu politics, who has put forth very strong reforms for people. And the knack and the way he communicated, I don't think we are yet to get someone who is as close to him for his presence of mind, for his ability and the command in the language, and for his ability and the command over the party, what he was heading at. There are very few people who could create such an impact. And I thought of introducing him to people. His name is Dr. Kalinjar Karunanidhi. You can Google about him. I'm sure many of you will find his life very, very interesting. Most importantly, very inspiring. The last person whom I want to speak before me getting into today's conversation is one person whom I was like in the I really don't to be very honest, I'm just trying to form a word on how exactly to present. When I heard the news of this Kozhikode flight crash, it was one other tragic news which we all come across. It was kind of first moment, like all of us. I have also got, the immediate thought process was how many people has lost their lives. Technically, for a flight of 180 plus, when I realized that not more than 14, 15, it's a kind of okay, not bad. For all 14, 15 years lost their life. Yes, it's very bad, but compared to the scale of the people versus this. And till 24 hours, I really couldn't think anything more about it apart from just, okay, a bad thing has been averted. Then suddenly I've started seeing the news of Captain Deepak Vasansate. And it has propelled me to a very different thought. See, for me, right, there are certain high profile professions which I look at, okay, these guys have been living their life. One such is pilot. Because we all tend to believe that they live in a classy place, they have very high paid jobs, and they're like, they've been meant to have a much better life than other working professionals. If you see that exact 2 3 hours of the last before the flight crashed, what his cousin has shared, right? As a pilot, I was just thinking, you're holding life of 190 people, and for you, that moment, you know for sure you're not gonna land properly. Okay, how many thoughts would have come in your mind while you focusing in driving it safely and to minimize the impact of it? Your friends, your well-decorated life, you're better off if you have kids, your mother, the passengers of 190 people. Plus, what I learned is to minimize the impact of the crash. This person, Amartya, Shrideepa, has made the flight flew so that the entire fuel what the flight carries has been consume so that the crash is minimal. One thing what I realize out of that is this the opposite side is always greener. That statement is yet again true, and my deepest condolences to the 14 families, 15 families who has lost life, and Captain Deepak Vasansatha. You are also an inspiration to me. Now, with all these things, I would like to start this session with. I actually, when my wife, when I told her that I would like to start a session like this, she asked me, "What is your topic?" When I had breakfast today morning, I actually don't have a topic. I said that's the reason I told that's a freewheeling, and I really don't want it to be framed in a way. And she saw me kind of, is it? Are you going to continue or are you going to just try? The intention is to continue, is what I've told. And when I was driving, I thought, let me come to office, let me sit here so that I can do this proper without disturbance, good internet connection, better lighting. I actually want this to be a kind of a bit professionalistic in approach. So I tried. I'm trying to do this way. And when I started, there were multiple things. Okay, I can start about my experiences because that's the most safest thing to start with. And when I started doing that, from where to start was a question. Then I thought, let me take the first letter of the English alphabet, A. And what are all the top three things comes to my mind, top three words comes to my mind. Let me start with those three words. And let me start sharing my experiences through those words. Then, based on that, if you want to have certain question and answers around that, it'll be better. So the first word which came to my mind was aspiration. A hope or ambition of achieving something. See, I'm pretty sure all of us has this when we finish the college. I'm not talking about the professional aspiration. Personally, looking good is an aspiration. Engaging with people is an aspiration. Taking care of people around us, our loved ones, to the bestest possible abilities is an aspiration. Doing very well in the professional approach is an aspiration. Want to grow phenomenally is an aspiration. We all carry different level of aspirations at different parts of life. But over a period of time, what I realize is, right, when we start getting into the mechanical process of making it happen, at some point of time, we somewhere lose the purpose and we start focusing more on the way we choose, the actions, than the aspiration. I'm not trying to come and tell that no, the actions are not important. But the more we just start micromanaging, we lose the ability for us to connect to the larger purpose, which is our aspiration. I personally feel the ability for me to see my next day is purely based on the aspirations which has been instilled on me by people around me, to be very honest with you. I was a happy-go-lucky guy when I was 18, 19. I always used to try a lot of things in life without any goal in my life. The first person who made me realize that, no, you should have a larger purpose was my mom. That's after a colossal failure what I had in my hometown, because I never plan things. I just go and do things the way it comes, and that's for a moment it is good. For that 1 week, 10 days, when you're operating on a smaller scale, you don't see a negative impact around that. But when you really start doing things, that is the moment you start realizing that no, this is going out of control. And that happens because you don't have any connecting activities. You don't have a plan. You don't have a monitoring system. You just go You just do things because you want to do things. And it is my mom who taught me, when you're doing, who has kind of pushed me and telling that we're doing all these things. It all looks, for first 15 days, first 30 days, it all looks fine. But after that time, do you realize, is it gonna be worth off? And that is the moment I started looking around me on people who has that respect, who has that value. Then started trying to connect myself towards, like how I spoke about Dr. Swaminathan, the respect from where he is gaining. It is not gaining because of the land bank what he owns, but because of the qualification what he has. Okay, and that is where I have started looking at. That is where I have started realizing that I should have a bigger purpose. I think all of us. It is very tough. It's a very tough question for us to arrive. Okay, these are all my next 3 years top three largest goals. Uh, when I try to ask this question to myself, I end up giving vague answers to myself. Unless and until it, yeah, see, all good things happens to us based on the toughest exercise what we undergo, and I'm a very strong believer on it. And I have started trying to answer those questions. I think all of us initially, the moment when this question is asked to us, we tend to believe that yes, I have an answer, and my way of interpreting that answer is I took a paper, I start writing it, and I see, is this answer holds good for me after 3 months? Is this answer holds good for me after 6 months? Then you start editing those answers. Then you come to a place where you start having a precise goal. Okay, in next 180 days, in next 360 days, this is what I want to be. This is where I want to be, and this is what I want to have. I think all of us should have that. It's a continuous process to have that aspiration revalidated time and again. Then only you have an ability to plan. Then only you have an ability to track. Then only it will become a reality. The second thing is assumption. I think, with all due respect, this is my perception, right? I think 70-80% of us conclude our life based on the assumptions what we have, without even we realizing whether that is real, whether we have a proof to assume that way, and even if there is a proof based on the past historical, what is the guarantee for that to happen in the future? So it is on both the ways. Yeah, you have a great positive assumption. Else, you have a very negative assumption on everything around you. Both can happen. I have met people who is phenomenally positive. You'll be like, after meeting them, right? You feel you're nothing. You're literally nothing. Okay. It is just that I somehow believe we have a switch. If you push this way, you get 100 logical reasons on why the world will end on October 31st. You'll start Googling, you'll go and check Mayan calendars, you'll go and check Nostradamus, you'll try to find your own way of interpreting things, and you'll start listing out all those reasons. Similarly, I so very strongly believe this, right? I very strongly believe that it is also the switch when we move on the other side, right? You have all reasons to believe the world is going to be beautiful. What and all things are going to happen to you is going to be fantabulous. It is just that the 98th percentile of this world think on the other side. Thinking on this side of being positive is very tough. Okay. And the assumptions, what we have, push you to whatever side, or the 98% side, because we don't get time, majority of the time, to validate, is it worth assuming this way? I'm again not talking on the business side, on the professional side even, on the personal side even. We suddenly assume about someone that this person has lost his respect, or this person is treating me different or demeaning me. We start assuming. It can be with our loved ones, it can be with our very close friends whom we kind of thought, come on, I cannot think of a life without these people. And at some point of time, when that happens, even on the other side, right, when you tend to see someone assuming, you'll be kind of godless. You don't even know how to answer that. You don't even know how to go and prove that what you're assuming is bullshit. And you shouldn't do that. Because, see, relationship is kind of very intricately woven one. Certain things has been misunderstood when unspoken. And assumption plays a spoil sport, be it in professional life as well as personal life. So, again, it's my perception and my thoughts, right? So I choose, it's been a very, very difficult task for me to try adapting. So I started validating statements of myself and people who speak to me, whether it is an assumption or is that a validation for what it said. Believe me, it helped reducing my mental disturbance by 70%. It helps improving my forecasting ability by 90%. It helps improving my communication by 99%. So the second thing, what I want to share today is about how are we handling the assumptions, what we get and what we hear from people defines how good we are going to live our life. That's the second thing. The third most important thing is action. I don't know about all of you. I'll tell you. I would have got 100 ideas on building a great business. I would have, right from my school days, yeah, I don't think my wife will really bother today or at this point. Yeah, we all get attracted to different set of people when we are in school, when we are in college, when we are in a working environment. Okay. Personally and professionally, there is something between your aspiration and your action. Aspiration, the moment you fine tune yourself, you can think about being the next Dhirubhai Ambani, next Mukesh Ambani, next Sachin Bansal, next Benny Bansal, next Vijay Shekhar Sharma, next Sridhar Vembu. Okay. Forget about Bill Gates, forget about Steve Jobs, forget about Elon Musk. Okay. We have a lot of people here to get inspired about. And the beauty of humanity is we can think endlessly. I'll start from here. In 3 months, I'll do this. In 6 months, I'll do this. In 12 months, I'll do this. All those aspirations, yeah, positive aspirations are good. But those aspirations are just a dream if you don't have an action plan. And the beauty of the action plan is, see, the definition of an action is a thing that is accepted as true or as certain to happen without proof. Without proof. Okay. I believe in action. I don't have a proof that this will work. But I believe I'm going to make this work because I'm going to act on it. This aspiration to reality happens only based on the ability of the person who has the aspiration, okay, to have an action plan on it. I've personally seen a lot of people, right, where The beauty of you being on startup environment is you tend to listen to $100 billion ideas. And believe me, out of that, at least 20 or 30 looks very logical. And out of that, 4 or 5 actually goes on to the execution. And you have 1% success rate here. If you carefully try to analyze, I've met this guy, I've seen their plan, and where exactly things went. It is exactly this place, the action and execution. Okay. Aspiration to reality. Unless and until, and I'm not again talking about it, you take me. Um, when I speak about all these things, the moral compass inside me is trying to rotate and check, are you really practicing what you speak? I'm not. I want to stop a lot of things. I want to reduce my weight. I want to change my lifestyle. All these things for sure, for 200% sure, I know that these are all going to have a super positive impact on me. Right from how I handle my finances better, right from how I organize my time better, right from what is the good time for me to get up, what is the good time for me to go to sleep. 30% of it, I try putting in action. And almost 70% of it is still on paper. But my sincere thought process or my feeling is a person who has an ability to put an action plan for his aspiration or her aspiration are the people who forms the 1% of the crowd or the population. And I think every one of us aspire to be there. With these 3 points, I really don't want it to be a Gyanbaji session, but I want this to have a kind of interactive session. And I got 2 questions already. Okay. The first question is, how did you know when you had a right idea? Wow. We never know. We never know. It's a continuous validation process. See, the beauty or the disadvantage or the problem here is, right, an idea which was right 6 months back is no more right. We ourselves have seen n number of examples. Okay, and it's a continuous process. So my way of looking at things is, right. Somehow, from my very small age, I've been attracted to scale. I'm not interested in anything which doesn't have the scale, which you cannot visualize that in next 3 years and next 5 years, you have an ability to reach 1 million customer or to have that kind of users for what, either your service or product. Second thing is, there is something called a product market fit. Okay, I would like to check, is there really a need for a service like what I'm planning? Or is it just my assumption? I'm telling you based on my experiences. I screwed very miserably on certain things to put my assumptions in front that this is what the way the market will react, than me validating it in spite of my partners validating and coming and telling me what you're packing is bullshit, it is not going to work, we need to move on this direction. I still regret. I would have saved 6-7 months of time if I would have taken the suggestion what one of my partner has given. And so, to coming back to the discussion of how do you know when you have the right idea. So I really look at the scale of the service what I operate. And second thing is, I would also like to see, is there the customer base who can actually consume the product or service what you have. And third thing is, I would also like to see how unique you are in seeing that you can handle the competition. If not, you're a monopoly. So these three, by constantly validating, uh, I'll get an opinion. The moment I get 60-70% right about what I feel, I get into action, because there is nothing called 100% right. There are businesses after 5 years of existence, they have changed their course. They have moved to completely very different way. In one side, they have acquired customers through service A, and they have started actually making money. They have started scaling up. They have started making huge profits by moving those customers to service B, service B, service D. So that's the way I look at it. Okay. Second is, what's your biggest fear when you persuade an idea? Fear of failure. See, I don't know about other people. Okay, we all have been living in a pressure cooker based society. Okay, the moment you become an adult, the natural question, at least on my side, is like, okay, where are you working with? Sorry. If you don't have a job, and my case was pathetic because I haven't completed my graduation even. So forget about me. The society will put your parents, your first circle, in a very tough condition. At some point of time, you'll start suddenly realizing that there is no one else to defend you. And you're an uninvited guest. You're a topic when people are free to discuss about. And it all happens. So I think it's kind of common, especially in South India, or more in South India. So the fear of failure, not only to me, right? Be personally, professionally, the fear of failure uh, is kind of comes very hard on you when we try to persuade any idea. So uh, the way for you to overcome that fear is by constantly validating your idea logically, economically, commercially, if there is a technology which is involved, technically, and it doesn't stop till you succeed. The fear changes, but the first fear, the biggest fear, if you ask, the fear of failure. Because the moment scale comes in, right, you're no more alone. When you're at an idea level, you're alone. The moment you get down to execution, you plus 10 people, you plus 20 people, you plus 50 people, you plus 100 people. The more you start realizing that one wrong decision of you is going to impact people at length and breadth which you can't even understand. That fear will take over your fear of failure. And yeah, that's the way. I talked to you about sometime back about Deepak Vasansate's thought process of that last 3 hours. Okay, the moment he realized, okay, the landing gear is not working. I have 190 passengers. So what is the most safest way? Uh, with all due respect, right? Entrepreneurs who try to build organizations with huge aspirations, with who want to create an impact, right? Personally, in my view, that majority of the time, they go through this process of thought process. It is always a contemplation between the reality and the aspiration, and you constantly need to move towards the right action points in making it happen. Hope I have answered your question. The next is how to manage, okay, break-even point when you are starting a new concept, new business, or new organization. Okay, see, I also was once believing similar to what you believe, Mayur. Starting a business is all about break-even point. It's not. It's not. Uh, to be very honest, uh, when Paytm has launched their business model, okay, my bad, I'm talking about 2012, 13, we really couldn't understand the reason behind the cashback, the reason behind the huge advertisements. I took a simple paper and tried to calculate, even if they transact 1,000 crore rupees, uh, even if they make 1% of it, even if they have a cost of 0.5% of it, to make this 0.5%, they are spending huge amount on acquiring customers. How are they going to make money? Because I couldn't get the visibility of Paytm becoming a super app, where I was all thinking only about Paytm being a service provider who operates a wallet. So, for certain business, the break-even point makes sense. For certain business, it is not about break-even point. It is about how big the concept is and how scalable it is and how sticky it is for the user. Where at some point of time, the user feel it is part of my day-to-day process. That all defines a business. So, to put a uh, logical answer to you, break-even really doesn't matter to businesses if the business is going to have a fantabulous scale. At the same time, a clear eyesight on revenue is very important. Okay, it is just because I'm acquiring customers left, right, and center. I don't really need to worry about my revenue. That's also bad. You need to have a revenue. You reinvest all the revenue back in scaling yourself, and by getting those revenue in hand, you always you also realize that uh, okay, with this, if I can do this, I can do much more than this if I have right capital. Then your ability for you to go and tell people that I am doing fundamentally something right, now I want to scale comes in. Hope I shared my perception. Wow, very interesting question, right? How do you handle tough times? What keeps you going during these times? I'm very fortunate. See, not just this, right? If you really want to scale yourself, you need to have right associations, and those association happens when you're fortunate. By reading books, you can't handle tough times. By listening, someone who is next to you telling that things are going to happen right, or by getting the stitched help, things won't happen. For me, what keeps me going is people like you. I had seen you blood and flesh, okay, on continuously for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, every day, going through the toughest time of life. And next day morning, walking, tucked in, coming inside the office with the same smile and believing that I'm going to make this. I'm very fortunate to have you and people like you around me, where for the first initial 15 days life, I was like, damn, I can't do this. Okay, this guy is crazy. The next 15 days, how come he can do this? The next, maybe this is the right way for you to do this. And then you end up convincing people around you, like me, that this is part of what I do. So you start at that's the end of 60-day cycle with people like you. You make us feel that there is nothing great we are doing. Hope I have answered my question. And for people who's going to watch this, maybe after some time, you're fortunate if you have someone around you, okay, who has the grit and determination and come what may, I'm here to make things happen. And you know what? This come what may has multiple interpretations. Come what may involves you doing things which you are not supposed to do. Come what may involves you trying to manipulate people. And thankfully, my a, 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 experience or my examples were, they have also taught me going through toughest proportions. Okay, or I have never seen people like Abhay who not even moved an inch in trying to manipulate, convince. Yes, there was a tough time. There were people, no, you need to do this, you have committed to do this. Okay. There were easiest way available for him to do that. Okay. Especially when you're sitting on the seat, we all tend to go in choosing the easiest route. Okay. You're fortunate when there is someone around you who can taught you by actually making you see them going through the toughest shit, okay, in making things happen. Wow. I think I have answered your question. Okay. One more insider question. What makes you so positive always? What do you get by being negative? Tell me one good reason by feeling negative. Okay, the economy has gone down. Okay, Corona has come. Money market is going to be tight. Property prices are going to fall down. Is that going to add any one thing to you, or is that is going to make you mentally comfortable? Is that is going to make people around you feeling okay? This is, see, being positive is not a choice; it's a compulsion. Let's understand that. People who doesn't understand, good luck to those people. Okay. Abhay Saab, seems you don't have any other work apart from targeting me today. How do you handle investors and family expectations at the same time? The same way you handled it. Okay. See, thankfully, I don't have investors who throws me expectations, and I'm also blessed with a family that way. My investors are very particular. They're more of a mentors to me, including you. Okay, it is not about numbers. It is not about scale. It is about fundamentals. It is about what to track, what is important to the business, what is not important to the business. Just because we have started, we believed in doing something when it is not working. Okay, I'm very fortunate to have people whom I can go bounce, who can tell no, what you're doing is right, what you're not doing is wrong. You need to do this, and maybe I'll get one special session only with you in taking one examples between you and me alone. We can speak about that 10 times. So, see, the expectations is not majorly from investors and family. The expectations is from the outside world. Either they assume that we have a lot of things which is already there with us, okay, or and when they right royally they believe they are entitled to ask things, and if you don't do that, immediately you are kind of one dash guy. And when things goes wrong, right, they tend to assume that you're done. Okay, and I'm fortunate to hear both the things, and most importantly, sometime back, via the news came to me. Do you know Prabhu is done? The organization has been already been sold off. Where we have been sitting together as a team and trying to build a new product, and we're winning the most important contracts. And this is what is people their expectations versus the assumptions which they communicate. It is all like that. So at some point of time, I was genuinely worried on how to make them understand, and I started wasting time in going to them, telling them, no, what you're assuming is right, what you're speaking is right, what you're not speaking is, this is wrong. Then I realized the moment I start playing for the crowd, I lose the game. If I want to win, I need to play for the game. I stop bothering. It's also learning what I learned from you. Is there any more question you want to have to cross check whether I have learned things properly or not? Okay, for this question, I have a very different answer. You may not like it. First, are you convinced on what you do? The moment you start building a plan for an investor, you fail. You need to build a plan for yourself, your business. I have seen multiple people who they were like, okay, if I put those every season there will be some 5-6 jargons. The reason highlighted jargons for artificial intelligence, machine language, blockchain. Okay, so people were kind of very easily convincing themselves and telling that, okay, I'm going to build a product. Okay, it can be a fintech, it can be an edutech, which involves blockchain, which involves artificial intelligence. They create a business plan with a only goal of convincing an investor. Okay, it's not going to work. You need to live on what you sell. If you can't, don't do that. If you're living on it, that is the only conviction what an investor need to bet on you. Hope the session is coming to an end. Wow, not bad. On the first session, I believe I really need to wait and check the comments on how it is. Please take time. If this is meaningful, because I really want to engage myself at least for an hour every week to start with in this random process. But going forward, I would like to engage in a more meaningful process, because there are many people around me who have taught me that giving back is not to the society is not just by giving money, helping someone. Sharing our experiences shamelessly is also a big giveaway we can do for the society. I'm trying to be as shameless as possible here. And please do share your comments or whenever you have a look on this. And thanks for taking time on a Sunday. We are almost 5 minutes left for a 1 hour session. And okay, that's really helpful. Thank you so much, Kalyan. And I'll try to be more meaningful. Also, please take time in letting me know on is there anything what I want to improve in making this more interactive, more meaningful, and more useful. Thanks for all the people who has taken time, and thanks for all the people who's going to watch it later. Looking forward yet again an interaction next week. I know Sunday is not a right day. I'll try next week to be on Saturday or Friday. Let me find 1 hour slot where I can really put myself on it and do this. Thank you.